Ravnica, City of Guilds, one of the most celebrated sets of all time. Some credit this set, which coincidentally had Magic's creator, Richard Garfield, on the design team, as being one of the sets that saved, or at the very least, incredibly rejuvenated, a dwindling Magic the Gathering game, with its then unprecedented guild design. It even won the 2005 Origin Awards for Best Collectible Card Game or Expansion. So you can see why the inevitable return to Ravnica was so anticipated when it first happened, in the aptly named Return to Ravnica, the first two sets of which were pretty good, followed by what many believe is one of the worst Magic sets next to Homelands and Fallen Empires, Dragon's Maze. Now, 6 years after Return to Ravnica returned us to Ravnica, we return to Ravnica, City of Guilds, with Guilds of Ravnica. Yeah, who the heck is naming these sets? Presented here are my top predictions for this triad of sets. That's right, rather than make one video for each of the upcoming 3 Ravnica sets, I'm making this one prediction video to encompass all 3, as well as my predictions for which new and old planes we will return to next. Wow, that's a lot. So much, in fact, that we better skip grading how well or not well I did with my predictions for Dominaria video. I mean, do people even care how many of my predictions I got right last time? I've had so many prediction videos where I got so much of it right. Who even cares how right or wrong that I may have been about Dominaria? I mean, no one really knows, or it's just these videos are for fun. And all right, roll the clips. Prediction number 1, a bridge between the old storyline and the new. Prediction number 2, as of the filming of this video, they have not even hinted at this, but I am going to say it right now, the return of masterpieces. I boldly predict that Wizards of the Coast is smart enough to one time, just one time, not have any new walkers as Planeswalker cards and offer us Jhoira, Teferi, and Karn as the Planeswalkers of this set. We are going to have a popularity contest of mechanics, using the best mechanics from throughout Magic's history. Oh, an extra credit prediction of a sort? I bet they do one card, just one card in this set, with banding. I predict we will finally see a return to powerful Magic the Gathering gameplay. On the plus side, Dominaria was an amazing set. All right, let's get to the professor's preposterous predictions for the next 3 Ravnica sets. I'll begin with a real downer of a prediction. No Shocklands reprint. The Shocklands, one of the key land cards in Magic, run in multiple formats from Modern to Legacy, and truly are a set of cards that define the plane of Ravnica. I don't think they're reprinting them. How can they not reprint the Shocklands in a Return to Ravnica set, you might ask, incredulously? To which I reply, hey, we returned to Zendikar and didn't get Fetch Lands reprinted. No. At this point, I am sad and pessimistic about any meaningful reprints in block sets. Wizards does not want to reprint cards. It is known. Wizards does not want the game to be affordable outside of Standard. It is demonstrated. Wizards will return to bloody Zendikar and not reprint the freaking Fetch Lands. It is proven. So guess what? I am calling no Shockland reprints in any of the 3 sets. No meaningful reprints, except maybe 1 or 2, whatever. Nothing outstanding, nothing outrageous cards. Heck, I'm even going to say no masterpieces. Masterpieces! They didn't bring them back for the 25-year anniversary set. They didn't bring them back to boost sales of Medio Core 19, so why would they bring them back for what they feel is a sure thing, returning to Ravnica? Now, my next prediction is more positive, so don't worry, your old pal the professor hasn't gone completely cold, because here's a prediction of something that they will do well, albeit on accident, and that's 3 sets of fantastic commanders. Dragon's Maze got a lot wrong to be considered one of the worst sets of all time, and one of the things it got wrong was a slew, and I mean a literal slew, of lackluster, overpriced, and underpowered legendary creatures, almost none of which made good commanders. This time, however, I am predicting we are going to see a ton of faces, new and old, with low mana costs, interesting colors and abilities, a bounty of build-around-me's and synergistic strategies, all stapled onto fantastic legendary creatures. Why? Because Wizards is pushing Brawl harder than a constipated elephant, and the reward for them forcing a format this hard is lots of legendaries designed with Brawl in mind, but will actually be good in Commander. You see, the best commanders aren't designed for Commander. Maybe the most powerful ones are, from Edgar Markov to Atraxa to Alluro and so forth, but the best commanders, the truest commanders, are the ones that were never intended for Commander, but just happen to have interesting and unique abilities that just happen to make for an amazing commander. And Wizards of the Coast is so interested in Brawl taking off that they are going to be almost shameless, okay, fully shameless in their legendary creature printing. Low mana costs, synergistic fun build-around-me abilities, and a wide covering of color combinations. While intended to get people to play Brawl, we Commander players will benefit. And when we build our Commander decks, we can use cards from throughout Magic's history, and the decks won't rotate, so there's a bonus too. My next prediction is quite predictable, but as far as the final battle for Ravnica is concerned, the allegiance of Ravnica, which will likely even see some guilds coming together to bow to Bolas, I predict, I foresee that in the end, the very end, Bolas is going to lose. Just as everyone knows that the characters killed by Thanos in Infinity War are going to be resurrected in the sequel, so too can we predict that this is the penultimate battle with Bolas by the Justice League, and this time they will win and save the plane. Look, this is exactly the sort of basic storytelling tropes we taught in college-level creative writing courses as hackneyed and predictable plots to avoid, so it's exactly what I'm expecting here. Introduce the Justice League? Check. They win their first big battle against the Eldrazi? Check. Hey, can't have them lose right away, or else why would they ever try again? But now that you have them winning once out of the way, you can have them lose in the middle act. Bolas defeats the Justice League. Check. Don't worry, no one died, there was no real stakes, and Amonkhet gets lost in the process. Next, we have Ravnica, the beloved plane. We have an epic 3 sets to be set there, and we will have the long, drawn-out build-up to the battle with Bolas. Allegiances shifting in the second set, where we see some guilds go against our heroes, and then the final battle, Bolas is defeated. Not killed, don't worry, this isn't Game of Thrones, it's the MTG equivalent of a DC movie, so he'll be fine, and we save Ravnica, leaving it exactly as it was when we found it, with none of our characters having changed since the beginning of this arc. I mean, they learned to work together as a team, and that they're really a family. Next. Wow, that was a bit of a sour prediction too. Hey, I'm sorry, but the storyline is just such a train wreck. Let me offer now my most optimistic and hope-filled prediction of joy. The Return to Ravnica will feature a clear and noticeable design at the common level for Pauper. I'm calling it! I have seen all the signs from Wizards of the Coast, and Pauper's popularity is due for at least 1/1000th the support and attention that they have been giving Brawl. Commons will be designed with Pauper in mind, leading to a slew of new and exciting decks and upgrades to existing favorites, rolling out into that Legacy Light format that I love so much. Okay, let's talk more about mechanics and design. I think the goal of the next 3 sets is going to be to pivot away, whether gradually or all at once, from the typical 2-color pairings of Ravnica. That's right, an idea so insane and foolish, of course they're going to try it. I think what we are going to see is an attempt to separate colors from drafting guild strategies, possibly by bringing back tribal sorceries like we saw in Lorwyn and Shadowmoor, only instead of a tribal instant goblin spell, say, or a tribal instant fairy spell, we will see tribal spells Izzet, Boros, Dimir, maybe a combination where one spell serves as representing multiple guilds. And this can allow for alliances, allegiances between guilds to let people have differing 3- and 4-color strategies. Or maybe something else. But my prediction is still that they are going to try and find a clever way to both break away from the 2-color structure, yet still maintain a big guild identity and flavor. So where are we headed next? I think it is quite obvious that our next previously established plane will be New Phyrexia, both an extremely popular plane and storyline in need of resolution, or at the very least revisiting, and also an easy one to pitch to those corporate suits as a surefire sales success. Phyrexia was recently alluded to in the Dominaria storyline, as Karn even dug up the Golgothian Silex and claimed to be set to detonate it on New Phyrexia, blowing everything up once and for all. And there have been other sprinklings and mentions and hints at Phyrexia as well, from Krufix's visions of New Phyrexia when he described the multiverse, to Koth showing up on the new artwork to Phyrexian Arena. And I think it's a safe bet to say that the next time we return to a pre-established plane, New Phyrexia will be that destination. So as for the next new plane that we're going to, likely the plane after Ravnica, one that we've never seen before, if it's one that they've never hinted at, if it's one that they've never had a single flavor text mentioned, then I could never predict one that's never been said in such a way, and I can only limit myself to the planes that we have seen a little snippet of, a little spoiler of, a little hint at. And I think that with all the foreshadowing I've seen, and given Magic's desire to trot the globe, as it were, my bet, and given some recent artwork, is going to be for Kaldheim. This is the Nordic or Viking-inspired plane that may have other similar tribes on it. We've got a lot of cards mentioning Kaldheim. We've even got this really neat artwork for Kaldheim. And thus, I think we're headed to the land of Nords and Vikings. You know, I used to be a planeswalker like you, and then I took a serrated arrow to the knee. Alright, Skyrim was a long time ago, and I don't know how well Norsemen will resonate with the Magic crowd. Still, Snow-Covered Lands really need a reprint, but hey, it's the modern era of Magic. I wouldn't be surprised at this point if we went to a Nordic-themed snow-covered plane and didn't get reprints of Snowlands. But what do you think? Are my predictions spot on or way off? Any predictions that you want to make, which I've missed, let me know in the comments below. And remember, whatever the future may hold, whether you are buying booster packs or card sleeves, accessories, or booster boxes, when you spend that money, whenever it is possible, whenever it is reasonable, try and spend that money at your local game store. You're supporting your Magic community and helping to ensure that future. And this video is brought to you by my and many other people's local game store, Card Kingdom, a brick-and-mortar pillar of this community, as well as the Patreon support of viewers such as you. These are the people that keep Tolarian Community College going and growing strong. So thank you.